Welcome back, grade 4. Today we're going to be continuing with the Kuwait economy in the past. Since Kuwait is located on the Gulf, the sea used to be the main source of food and income for the people who lived in Kuwait. They practiced skills like pearl fishing or pearl diving. We learned about this in the last lesson. Trading and seafaring, fishing, and shipbuilding. The Kuwaitis were very good sailors. They visited many different ports, reaching them by the shortest routes. This was achieved by plotting courses using the compass or the stars and their great experience on these long voyages. These are special skills that take time to learn and perfect. In their wooden ships, they reached the ports of East Africa, such as Mogadishu, Mombasa, Zanzibar, and Dar es Salaam. They also traveled to India and visited Bombay, Panaji, and Goa and Calcutta, calling in at the ports of the Arabian Gulf like Muscat, even reaching as far as Malaysia and Singapore. Kuwait became a trading center for many of the commercial ships for such items as wood, spices, rice, clothes, and sugar. Many merchants came from different countries to buy and sell in Kuwait, including goods imported from India. The trading voyages took place between October and May. Prior to World War I, up to 2,000 ships took part in these voyages. These commercial ships were larger than the ships used for pearl diving and including Al-Bagara and Al-Boom. One of the most famous and biggest Kuwaiti ships was Boom Al-Mahalab, which was built using the shipbuilding skills and expertise of old Kuwaitis. Unfortunately, it was lost when the Iraqi forces destroyed all of the exhibits in the National Museum during their invasion of the state of Kuwait in 1990. However, it was rebuilt and restored to the museum in 1997. Here's the example of the ship. There was a wide variety of fish in the Arabian Peninsula, and it was a staple diet for the people of Kuwait. Fishing was one of the main sources of income in Kuwait before the discovery of oil. What wasn't eaten was sold. Even today, you can see the different kinds of fish in the local markets, including zabedi, hamur, sabur, and beya and shrimp. Here are the different examples of fish. The fishermen used simple tools like al-hadra, made of ropes and nets to put in the sea near the shore to benefit from the flow of the tide in order to catch fish. They also used different kinds of nets. Another method was used, al-gargur, which is a dome-like box with a narrow opening to let the fish in but not out. The Kuwaitis were famous for shipbuilding. They mastered this art and provided their neighbors with their products. The wood was brought from India and East Africa to build these ships. This industry was not simple, but quite sophisticated because it needed a lot of practice, skill, and craft. The Kuwaiti coast was an ideal place for this industry, especially at Al-Nejha, where the water was shallow and calm. The chief craftsmen were called Al-Ustad. He supervised the workers, encouraged them, and directed them. The man responsible for preparing the wood for the shipmaking was called Al-Ghalif. Kuwaitis built different types of ships for different purposes. Big ships were made for long voyages to trade with places such as India and East Africa. Medium-sized ships were made for local trading between the ports in the Arabian Gulf. These carried both goods and passengers. Pearl fishing ships were smaller in size. Fishing boats, these were various sizes depending on its needs and purposes. They were used for fishing and carrying water. The fishermen and the merchants from the other Gulf states used to come to Kuwait to buy ships, nets, sails, and nails because of their excellent quality. Here's a modern-day small fishing boat used in Kuwait. Kuwaitis who lived away from the sea had different professions. There were people who lived in the desert area of Kuwait who used to keep and breed sheep. This took place in the winter and spring due to the abundance of water and grass following the rains. If the rains were good, they also bred camels and grew some vegetables and sold milk, butter, wool, and meat in the markets of Kuwait City. Traditionally, farming was centered around Al Jahra and nearby coastal villages like Al Fantas and Abu Halifa. It also took place on Falika Island. This was because water was available from wells from underground sources. Some crops that grown included tomatoes, cucumbers, melons, and food for animals like grass and barley. These were simple activities for local needs like bisht making, tent making, and weaving woolen cloth, al-sadu, which was a Bedouin specialty. That's the end of the lesson for today. You can use this information to answer your Google Forms a little bit later. We'll be back with you again real soon.